My husband also went through a really big mental health thing. His mom passed, and it was really hard. And it was a very traumatic event kind of for all of us. So you guys work with your spouse 24/7. Like, you guys are married.
Yes.
And you work with each other all the time.
Mm-hmm.
How is that? Like, do you ever want to kill each other?
Dude, honestly, so I'm going to start by saying it's not for everyone.
I get
Definitely.
that 100%.
But the advantage that Matt and I had is I feel like our relationship starting out, even before we started dating, we always worked together. Like,
Yeah?
right?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
just feel like, I don't know, I feel like God had it that way so that in the long run, like, we wouldn't be at each other's throats.
Yeah, everything happens for
Yeah,
a reason.
exactly.
Like, I'm
Oh,
a
yeah,
100%
for sure.
believer in that everything happens for a reason.
Seriously.
So, like, how long have you worked together? How long have you been together? And how long have you been married?
Man. So we've been together for 10 years. We worked together for 11 years.
Oh, wow.
What?
Yeah,
I
because
guess. We worked together
2013.
before-
Yeah, we met in 2013, and our first job was a college job called YouTube Crew. It was like, look, it's so full circle.
Yeah.
So we was doing videos for the college we attended to, and then that year after that, we got together, and we've been married for 4 years. So we never stopped working together.
Yeah, it's like, it just feels weird. It feels like Slice and Rice is literally our dating, like, how long we've been together is how long we've had our channel.
That's
And then,
so,
like, just
and like
work-
that,
yeah,
that's
it's
like
so
your YouTube
weird.
channel, Slice and
Yeah.
Rice.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with those names?
That's all Matt. We were thinking about like a channel name, and he was just like, well, what are things that we both really like? And he was like known at our college, literally.
Yeah,
for
loving
just-
pizza. Like that was the
Yeah.
thing. Like, and we've made videos about it, but I went to the hospital for eating too much pizza one time.
Did you actually?
did.
Okay, I need this
It
story.
was
Before
okay.
we continue, I need this story.
So this is back in community college. I had pizza for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 5 days straight. And when Saturday came, I couldn't get up out the bed. I was in pain, like my stomach.
Oh my gosh.
And I should say that I'm also lactose intolerant.
Yeah.
No, man.
And I used to have a tomato allergy.
Yeah.
So why would I like pizza? It's something about
Pizza
it.
is good.
Yeah,
it
I
is,
love
but-
Can't go wrong.
pizza.
But it's like every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I went to the emergency room.
Wait, before he says, I don't know if I believe this story to them, but just go on. Go on.
That's
I don't know.
a life thing of he's gonna tell this.
I'm just
but
saying, what
No.
you're about to say is really strange, but
Okay.
You can verify with my mom because she was the one that took me to the ER. All right. So she's my
the
witness.
ER.
Yeah. So I went there. They did an x-ray on my stomach. It was just a sharp pain. And we looked at it together. It was a block of cheese in my stomach.
Oh,
Block of
my
cheese.
A block of cheese.
Well, they said it was a block of cheese
did
because it was
harden
my...
together?
X-ray?
Yeah. It just like hardened because it was 5 days. And like I didn't do anything for 5 days but just eat pizza. And
And I guess if
Saturday-
you're lactose intolerant, like I guess your body
it just
couldn't
didn't, I guess it
digest
just,
it.
yeah,
Like,
it didn't
couldn't-
digest it well
It
at
couldn't
all.
break it down, so it just like morphed together.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so it's
probably.
like a lot of water, things that kind of help move through its course. It was a rough
And
recovery
it was
period.
just a giant blockage of.
Yeah, like you just saw like this huge gray area near like in my stomach region.
Oh my
and
gosh.
I'd never forget the doctor was like, this right here. It's like, why are you having that issue? And then the second time I went to the hospital for eating pizza, we did a video called 100
Yes,
Layers
I don't
of
know if you
Cheese.
remember that trend that went around that was like 100 layers of this, 100 things
yeah.
of that. So we were like, no one's ever done 100 layers of cheese on pizza. And we were like, this is brilliant. So we went to our friend, shout out to Fun Foods, James's house, and he does like food. He has a food channel. So we were like, let's do like 100 layers of cheese. And obviously
took
we
one
had
bite.
to eat it.
I
Oh,
took
of
one
course.
bite, went to the ER the next day. And at that point, it was a different doctor. He was like, all right, listen, like, we got to think of dietary restrictions with you and pizza. So it's like, I would recommend only pizza 2 times a month.
Which was really hard for him.
That was, so like,
Devastating
now
news.
it's like, when I eat pizza, I consider, all right, if I eat pizza now, like, I can have another one towards the end of the month. Like, it's crazy.
But now I need to know, how did they fix the giant block of cheese in your stomach? Like, how was that resolved?
So there's a bottle called magnesium citrate.
And you just drank it?
Yeah,
And it
it's
just dissolves it in your
if you
stomach?
try hard enough, it tastes think hard enough, it tastes like Sprite. And give it
Had to
about
gaslight
like
yourself.
that's one of those beverages you gotta plan your day. So it was like, all right, I'm just not gonna go anywhere for the entire
Oh my
weekend
God.
and everything. And that resolved itself, and it was like, dang, man. So yeah, I don't really eat pizza as much anymore. So the slice and rice is because I love pizza.
It's a very long answer for
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And there's a breadcrumb of my love for Ninja Turtles. I love Ninja Turtles, and they just happen to love pizza as well.
Right.
So it's just like, I think I was supposed to be a Ninja Turtle. I say all that to
Well,
say.
you're in your
You're in
green.
green.
And
He's
I'm
always
in
wearing
green.
green. He's a
Like,
green
yes.
car. I mean,
Yeah.
he's adopted.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Love
and
it.
then simple. People like to say, "Oh, I get it. It's rice because you're Asian." I just love rice. I just like
say that to you?
literally every time we say, like, if we meet someone new, they're like, "Man," like, or like they're like, "Oh, I get it," and I'm like, "What? You get what? Like sliced and rice? You know what I mean?" It's just, and we'll tell people like, "Oh yeah, he's rice and I'm sliced," and it's just funny looking at their expression.
And they
like,
get so confused.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
But yeah,
is
I just
so-
love rice. Could eat rice for days. I don't discriminate on what type of rice. I just, yeah. And so
Yeah.
when we discovered our loves and it rhymed, we're like, oh my gosh, it actually rolls off the tongue. Sliced
It was
rice.
meant to be.
Yeah.
Again,
not a
everything
food
is
channel
meant
at
to
all.
be.
Well, I guess technically it kind of is
Kind
a
of
food
turned
channel.
into a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like still reeling from the fact that people actually say out loud to you, "I get it."
Yeah,
You're
no,
right,
yeah, yeah.
you're Asian."
literally,
Yeah.
all the time. We're like, it's not like that, but okay.
Like, okay, way to out yourself.
Right,
You
I
know?
know, exactly. Yeah.
Like, I feel you in your thought process. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just such a bold thing.
I
to
know.
say out
No,
loud.
seriously.
Like, even if it's an intrusive thought, like,
I know.
just, like,
I know.
say out loud.
They just think out loud. Say it.
Wow.
We don't think anything of it though. We're not like, "Hey, what do you mean by that?" No,
It's
just
more like, what? Like,
Right.
it's- wow.
Yeah.
our
Okay.
thought process literally was like slice and rice rhymes.
Yeah.
And we
because
love
of
these
pizza.
foods.
Yeah,
Like
we
it's
love
not
these
pizza
foods,
and
yeah.
rice. It's slice and rice because it rhymes.
Yeah.
Marketing purposes is easy to remember.
I
all
love
of those
that.
things.
It's like cute on a t-shirt.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love
exactly.
that. Like 100%. That's what literally my username was R Rogers World, and my manager's like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. My students made it up. like, I don't know. Like,
I love it.
can't really put
That's
it on
awesome.
a t-shirt, but
Yeah.
Aw.
it's fine." But so, what is it like working with your significant other? Like, is it obviously it's not for everyone? You just said, and agreed.
hmm
What kind of difficulties have you guys faced with that?
It's been a lot.
Yeah.
Early on, I would say right when we were like around 1,000 subscribers, we actually almost broke up
Yeah.
Really?
from
Yeah.
because of YouTube, because we had an issue with balancing work and our relationship early
Yeah.
on. So it was like one person will focus more on the business and the other person will focus more on the relationship, and then roles will get reversed where we're never on the same page. So we had to take a step back and like create boundaries to make sure that our relationship remained a priority, and how to effectively work together. And till this day, we're still learning things about each other of like,
Yeah.
okay, what are your triggers to get you overwhelmed with work? What can I do? What's your strengths? What's your weaknesses? And all of those things. And it's still ongoing. We've been working together for, what I say, 14 years? Has it been 14 years?
I don't know.
You said 10 together, 11 working.
Yes, 11. See, the
The
math ain't math.
get
Yes,
that
11.
'cause
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
get that because I've also been with my husband. We've been together for about 10 years. And whenever people ask, I'm like, what year is it?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's what I was
It's
trying
hard
to
to
do.
keep track of.
And then we try to look in our brain, like we
Right,
can
it's
sort
like,
through files, like, oh, what?
uh,
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, we're still learning. It's been 11 years and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you add like kids into the mix, which is also like really hard. You know, working from home, like it's definitely not easy at all to work from home when you
Oh,
have
yeah.
kids, because like you know we have had to get a nanny, even though like technically you could watch your kids and then make video. I mean, but you can't.
But yeah, yeah. when
It's
you-
just
when
another
you-
layer of
Yeah, because I
difficulty.
don't have children,
Yeah.
but I can only imagine, especially when they're young, like you have to watch them all the time. And
Yeah.
it's like, if it's too quiet, where are you?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you doing? Because like I have cats, which is not the same. But even I will be in a room and I'll hear something in the background, and I'm like, "Where are you?
Right.
What
Yeah.
are you doing?" That's not a sound that I feel like I should hear right now. Like,
Yeah.
so I can't even imagine with children,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
human beings. That's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I would say, like, dang, I just had a brain fart right then and there. I
Do you
knew it was
also,
like,
are you a fellow ADHDer?
I don't think so. We were having this conversation.
So you know what's so funny? We thought maybe he had it.
Yeah.
So he like went into he didn't do like the intense test, but like he went to go see if he had it. And then when he looked at all the symptoms, he's like, "Babe, I think you have
Yeah.
some of these things." I don't really know. I mean, I don't know if Matt He
Yeah, I don't know.
has a lot of focus issues.
Yeah, I know.
It's okay.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah, it gets there.
everyone has their own quirks, and that's
Yeah,
fine.
that's what makes us
But yeah,
us.
100%.
Yeah.
But you said that you almost broke up due to YouTube.
Yeah,
Yes.
for
Yes.
sure. And it was only, like he said, when we reached 1,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was so early on into our relationship and our YouTube career. Like for 1,000 subscribers to get to our head is ridiculous.
Yes.
But at the
when
same
you
time,
think of where you are now. for
I know,
sure.
Yeah.
but it was like a blessing in disguise because
Yeah,
we
it
feel
was.
like that we're so thankful that didn't happen later on, like hitting 1 million subscribers.
Yeah.
Like we really understand those boundaries now and how to like keep it separate. Because we used to like every time we hung out, all we would talk about was like YouTube, business and stuff like that. So that's when it's starting to become unhealthy. So for that to have happened so early on, we know not to do that now. So that's why we see it as a blessing. That it almost
for
happened,
sure.
but it didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I think like as you're saying that you're still learning about each other's triggers, you're still learning like about each other, and I think that's so valid because like they say scientifically that you really truly get to know someone for it takes 2 to 4 years to truly be able to get to know someone.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
not only that, like I think how old are you guys?
I'm 30.
Yeah, I'm 32.
Yeah, so like would you agree with the fact that like your 20s completely changes like who you are at 20 and who you are at 30?
So different.
Oh yeah, I'm not the
so,
same person.
So different.
Yeah, yeah.
Like me, I say this almost every episode, but me and my friend Johnny Ross say that like every year in your 20s is really like 2 to 4 years of maturity, always. And so like not only are you getting to know each other of who you are, but you're also getting to know each other for who you change into.
Right.
And I think that's so valid because like I was just talking about this the other day with another podcast guest that in your 20s, sometimes you grow up with people and sometimes you grow up apart from people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is just a really good example of you guys grew up and matured and changed like together instead of apart. And I
Yeah.
think that's beautiful because like my husband and I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Because we met when I was 18
Mm-hmm.
and he was 20. And like we are completely different.
How old are you
people.
guys now?
I'm 27.
Okay.
And he just turned 30. So like I'll be
Okay.
28 in a
Yeah.
couple
Oh, okay.
months.
Oh,
Yes, and which is weird. Like I don't like saying that out loud. I will be 28 in a few months. I don't know why, but that just feels
You're still in your 20s.
crazy. It's I don't know. Like for me, I'm like, oh, I'm only 27, and for whatever reason, 28 just feels like a big number, and I don't know why, but it gives me like butterflies in
Really?
my stomach.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
I don't know why.
you know what's crazy? Like after turning 30, I felt younger.
Really?
Yeah, it was just like, dang, this is how I feel in my 30s. Like, and I can do this much stuff. Like, my 30s is gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, I hear
and I'm not
30s
just
and the
saying that to
mid-20s,
like gas up. Like,
No,
the older
yeah.
you get, like, no, but it's like for real. I'm like, dang, like,
Well, I feel like for so long, because like I'm very short. I'm 5 exact. And my husband is 6'3", so like I
my gosh, really?
always get, oh, you're so little, oh, you look like a kid, and I have always had a younger face, so I always get, oh, he's so young, and then even in teaching, it's always been that younger teacher, like not that much older from the kids, so like for me, I guess I've always had this mentality of like, you're so young, so the idea of like being so close to 30, even though it's not even a big number, is so weird to me because
Yeah,
everyone's
'cause everyone's
always
always told you
associated
otherwise.
me
yeah.
with like being like a child.
Yeah.
And so it's like
That's
almost,
weird
it's like,
psychologically to always hear that. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. But like, has there ever been a part like or a time working together that's really just been a struggle, whether with each other or against each other, that like really sticks out in your mind as like this was a really big milestone that we overcame, and like that's just.
I feel like every year.
Dang.
I feel like every year that
Really?
there's.
Tell me how you feel.
No, I'm just saying like life stuff happens.
Yeah.
You know, so I wouldn't say it's specifically our relationship, but like things that happen with family that's out of our
yeah.
control,
Yeah.
and even within us individually. I think this past, and I'm saying this because I talked about it publicly on our channel. It's like this past year, I had a mental health crisis.
Yeah.
And everything, and it was like our videos are so authentic. It's just like us, our authentic reactions, how we're feeling. And even our viewers like, yo, what is wrong with Matt?
Right.
Like, what is going on and stuff. So I had to go seek professional help and everything.
Yeah.
And it made working very difficult. Arguments came up because we would spend so much, you know how it is when you're pre-planning, hey, we're going to do this video this week. We would go and buy the props and everything. And then when it was time to film, I would just be like, no, I don't want to do it. And so it was like hours of pre-planning that just went down the drain because I wasn't feeling it. I was having a moment and everything. And it took a while for us to like figure out, hey, what are solutions? And that's one thing I love about our marriage is when problems come up, we always try to focus on a solution and everything. So we learn through it. So when if it happens in the future, it's like, hey, this is how we got through it. And for this one, it was like, hey, how about you take a break, Matt, aside from the channel. I'll handle things so that we can focus on you and everything, which we did. And then when it was time for me to finally came back, it was just like a breath of fresh air. We joke about it, like comments like, Matt's back. Not like, I mean, even though I was in a video, but they could tell through the mental health, Matt's smiling more. I could tell and all of those things. But in the beginning, it was very, very rough and stuff. So it was like, hey, how do we do this? And that's just an example of like some of the things that come up in our everyday life that impacts work and even our marriage as well.
So like Glory, how when obviously like mental health crises like happen so often, like I think that they should be so much more normalized and like acknowledged. How did you deal with not only like obviously this is your husband like going through something really serious, but it's also your business partner. So like, how did you approach that situation?
It was so, not gonna lie, so challenging. But like we're very on the same page. His mental health is priority, 100%. But still it's just like, oh, but we still need to like make money, right? You know? I mean, I think our content did end up shifting a little bit around that time. You could physically see on our channel there's a period where I'm mostly in the videos and Matt's just kind of in the background. That was like kind of recent, like 5 months fresh or 4 months ago. But there was a period that was really, really hard for me where we thought about, wow, like have we been doing this for too long and we just need to like take a break from just not even take a break, but like stop doing Slice and Nice. And that was really hard for me at the time because like I told you earlier, when we started dating is right when we created our channel. So to me, like stopping Slice and Nice almost felt like we were breaking up like an actual life because it was just like a part of our story. Yeah. So like that was really hard for me at first. I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know if I can let go of our channel because to me it meant more than just a channel. It was like our relationship. So I was like, does this mean we're like, I mean, it didn't mean that we were separating, but metaphorically it felt that way. But like it ended up working out for us.
Oh yeah. Well, I ask because so my husband and I also work together. Yeah. Like he does more of the behind the scenes stuff and like helps me and I'm more on camera. But even right before we started working together, my husband also went through a really big mental health thing. His mom passed, and it was really hard, and it was a very traumatic event, kind of for all of us. And obviously, he went through the grief process in his own way, and he kind of got stuck in it. And it was very hard for me, as you know. We had just gotten married, or we had just gotten engaged. We were about to get married, and it was very hard for me to figure out, how do I approach this? You know, like obviously I want him to be able to grieve. I want him to be able to feel like he can be vulnerable, but at the same time, you know, he is postponing his bar as he should. Like he should take that time, but then when do I start making him study for that? When do I start forcing him to start getting back into things? Because you don't want to be insensitive and you want to help them.
No, and that is
and the grief process can, for some people,
take a long,
like some people really like to bury themselves in work, in progress, in motivation, and distract themselves, but other people like to be left alone. And so I really had to figure out, okay, how with his grief process, like where is he, what's best for him, but also what's best for him now and what's best for him long term. And that was really, really hard for me. And I, you know, after a couple months, I really kind of decided, okay, I don't think that what we're doing, and I feel like the more I'm letting him, like the more I'm leaving him alone, the farther he's falling. I can't speak today.
No, you're good.
No, I know what you're saying.
The more I leave him alone, the farther he's falling down into this hole. I feel like I need to come up with a different approach. And so instead I came on a little bit more stronger. Okay, today we're not sitting on the couch. We're going to be studying. We're going to crack open some of these law books. We're going to study for the bar. And that helped. And I was really
Yeah.
nervous because at first I hoped to God. I was like, I hope I'm not making this worse. Like, I hope I'm not being
Yeah.
insensitive. But he needed that.
Yeah.
And that
Wow.
worked out really well for me.
Yeah.
And it was even interesting because, you know, his dad's grief process completely different. His brother's grief process completely different. But this is what Avery needed. And so I was asking because I know that every person is different and what they need is different. So I just wasn't sure what that kind of looked like for you. Was it easier for you to be more hands off and let Matt sort through things by himself? Or did you really need to step in like I did for Avery and
that's
be like,
really
okay,
good.
hey, we need to do something a little bit different?
Yeah, that's a really good question because I feel like even though we've been married at that point, like 3-ish years, like I was still learning, like, because I guess it was like the
Yeah.
first time he had like a mental health crisis to that degree.
Right,
So
right.
I'm like, what do I do? Like,
Right, exactly.
And
You
it's,
feel so helpless.
yeah, and it's harder for him, but that doesn't mean it's not hard for me either.
Exactly,
Especially
right.
as the one that's wanting to support him, but
Absolutely.
wanting to give him space. Like, as you were speaking, I was like, wow, like I felt like I struggled in that area too.
Yes.
So I think it was a lot of trial and error. 'Cause-
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, because I think I don't know. I think in the beginning I was a little bit too like didn't give him enough of his own space. I know you said that you gave a lot of space and then you stepped in, but I feel like I didn't give enough space. I felt like I was still saying like, hey, well, we still need to do a video. What video is going to go up this weekend? And that would trigger him. And I feel like over time I learned like what he needs. And I think that was more space and time, and I just needed to be patient through it. And I think eventually, like, he saw that and he appreciated it. But it was not easy in the beginning. Oh my gosh, it was so difficult.
Well, there's no manual,
No,
right?
no,
And
everyone's so different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when it comes to tragedy, whether it be like your own mental health, an external event, like everyone just deals with it so differently. And you know what you would need in that moment.
Yeah,
but, you know,
but it might not be different.
Right. It's
Yeah, the
not
same.
like people just like experience all the time. Oh, a crisis. Here's how I help that person. Like, you
Right.
know, it's usually, hopefully, it's new territory for people. It's not something
Yeah.
they deal with all the
Right.
time. You know, there's no manual. We're
Yeah.
all just figuring it
Yeah,
out.
adding on to that,
As
what I
we
would
go.
say is, especially if you have a partner, I think what helped us was even though I was going through that stuff, I remained communicative throughout the whole thing.
Oh, that's
So I
good.
didn't keep my emotions to myself.
Oh, that's
I
so
would
good.
say, hey, this is how I'm feeling right now, and I would communicate the problems that I'm going through, so that at least Gloria had an understanding of what I was battling. Instead of just saying, hey, I'm sad, I would say like, what's making me sad and stuff. And then we allowed room for a lot of grace, because she vocalized, hey, I'm learning. Can you tell me what I can do to help you? And when we get questions like that, most of the time we don't even know what will help
Right.
us.
Right.
So I made sure to say like, hey, I don't know, we can try this, like to see how I will react. So it was like a lot of trial and error, but I think the important thing is trying to create a safe environment for both sides. Grace is very important.
100%.
Um,
And that communication is so
yeah.
important. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like in both of our situations, like without that communication, none of like the progress.
Right, yeah.
You couldn't find a
Yeah.
solution. Like
And-
you can't read each other's minds. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did get better at it too. Because like I feel like in the
Right.
beginning it was harder for him to like communicate that to me.
Yeah.
But I feel like
Yeah.
over time he understood that we needed that in order for us to like prosper. So
Well, I feel like that's like a really weird thing in society that, and I think it's getting better, but in general, I feel like guys are kind of told that it's weird to be so vulnerable,
Yeah.
and to be so communicative and talk about what makes them sad and what they're struggling with. And I hate that.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate it. And
Yeah.
I think it's so great hearing, you know, Avery has really learned like to be vocal about that stuff and tell me like how he's feeling. You have obviously done that with Glory. And I think it's so unfortunate that there are still so many men that struggle with that and feel like they can't tell their partners, hey, this is really stressing me out,
Yeah.
or this is giving me a lot of anxiety, or this is giving me like a pit in my stomach. And I just think it's so valuable when men have like found a place, like feel comfortable enough to be that vulnerable, because how do you make those things work when you can't?
Yeah.
You know?
The way I view it is, and it's a mindset shift. You got it once, like for us, once we got in our marriage, it it's a team and we have
Right.
one goal,
Right.
you know? So you think basketball, football, soccer is like, hey, our goal is to win, not like one person or anything like that. So it's like some days Glory might be down and I'm going to have to pick up slack on my side.
Yeah.
I'm down, Glory's going to have to pick up the slack. But at the end of the day, we're trying to win. We're trying to make it. We're trying to support our family and continue to love each other and all of those things. So with that in mind, me communicating, me sharing these things helps our marriage as a whole, helps the family as a whole. Because, you know, we mentioned earlier, we got kids, it's family stuff that we have to take care of and everything. So it helps our marriage function properly when we're on the same page and it's like, okay, Glory's feeling down. She can't, you know, she's operating at 30% right now. So I got to add in that extra percentage and stuff to make sure that the family's doing this thing. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
I saw that clip online. My favorite clip I've ever seen on the internet was this woman talking about how 50-50 in a relationship, especially a marriage, is utter crap.
Right.
Yeah.
Not everyone can give that
Right.
full 50 to equal 100 all the time. And so
Right.
letting your partner know, like, I'm only at a 20. Like, I can't, okay,
Yeah.
well, I can give you that extra percent. I can go
Yeah.
to 80, 100%. And then those days where you both can't give enough, like some days are just hard.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're both having a bad day. And those days where you can't equal up to 100%, that's the day you just got to sit down and talk and figure out how to build each other up so you can get to that. Or how can you just get through that day to where you're both able to give that 50 or whatever equals up to 100 between whatever you guys can give that day. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense.
No,
I'm
I
kinda
love
rambling.
that.
That's
That's really
exactly
good.
like how
Yeah,
it
you
is.
saw the clip too?
I didn't see the clip.
No, I
but-
was gonna
love it.
say, like, wow,
Yeah.
that's just in his mind. I mean,
Yeah.
if someone else said
No,
that, that's
yes.
amazing.
I saw it on TikTok so long ago and I
Okay.
saved it. I was like,
Oh.
this is like my favorite
Wow.
thing because it's so valid that, you know, no, you can't always give your all every single day. And that
Yeah.
really is what a marriage is on days where I'm having a bad day, he will pick up the slack because Avery can just see it on my face
Yeah.
or I'll let him know like I'm having a bad day. There are days where I'm just stressed, I'm struggling, and he's silly and he wants to sing Disney songs and he just sees it on my face and he's like, what do you need?
Yeah.
What can I get for you? And like he just knows, or sometimes I just have to tell him. And like same vice versa. Like I want to go outside and I want to go on a walk and he's like, I really need an inside day. And
Right.
again, like I don't know how people who don't feel like they can communicate those vulnerabilities with their partners, I don't know how they do it. Like, not in a, like, I'm in awe that they are able
Yeah.
Yeah.
sometimes to do, like, when they are, but, like, I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
I would not be able to get through these
Yeah.
bad days without that.
Yeah.
I would say I think it starts with you got to create that environment though.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
especially when you first get in, like whoever's listening and watching, and you know, you like, hey, I'm ready for a partner and stuff. I think one of the important things that me and Glory did was first thing we did was establish boundaries, and we wanted to create a trusting environment. No matter how hard what I'm going to tell you is going to be, like what is the end result of this? And for us, I mentioned earlier, it's always a solution.
Yeah.
So for us, it's like, okay, you did something today that made me very upset. And I know we have a trusting environment where I can share that with you. And at the end, we're going to figure out how we can improve from this. No matter how hard it is, you know, we set pride and ego aside because we know that we have a
Right.
common goal, which is a successful marriage and relationship. So I would tell anyone new or even people that, you know, are currently in a marriage right now that might be difficult and is like, let's start from ground zero and do this. I would say, hey, what are some boundaries? What are some triggers that's like, these are non-negotiables that, you know, I struggle with or I think is not good for our marriage? And then how can we create that safe environment? Because after that, once you feel safe in your environment, you can be more vulnerable. But when you don't
Exactly.
feel safe, it's like, I don't know if I can tell this person this. Like, you know, I ate the cookie from the cookie jar.
I think a big key on that is to have those boundaries to not take things personally.
Yeah.
Because, like, for an example for us is Avery really started learning how to do a lot of editing stuff. He's been playing around with Adobe to figure out how to animate things because he wants to make, like, these cool little animations
Yeah.
for my videos. 'Cause,
Aw.
like, he's like, I want to give this to you,
Nice.
which is so sweet. And I was doing an Am I the Bad Apple kind of thing about this person had a very upsetting and traumatic experience. And I can't remember exactly what kind of animal was involved, but there was an animal involved in the story, and Avery spent hours because he just took it upon himself. He's like, you know what? This is about an animal, and he like animated this animal, but it was like kind of like a happy animation.
Oh.
And when he later showed me, I was like, well, that's great, but I feel like it would be kind of disrespectful to put like this happy-go-lucky kind of animation with this like really sad story, like clearly that someone's very upset about.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of disrespecting their feelings.
Yeah.
And you know, he spent hours on that, and that's something that he really had to make sure that he didn't take personally, because you know, like when you work hard on something, you don't want to hear that you know that it's not that it wasn't good, but like you don't want to hear that.
We get that.
We had these conversations all the time.
You know exactly what I mean. That's hard to hear from anyone, especially your spouse.
Yeah.
And like it takes a lot of effort to be able to separate, okay, this isn't my wife telling me I'm dumb. This isn't my wife telling me that what I'm doing is bad. This is a business partner saying this just isn't the direction that is best for the video. And that doesn't mean that we can't use the animation later or for something else, and it's very good. And now you have those skills, but like, you know, and it's easier said than done, you know? And it takes a lot of work and effort. So like, so for me, like my biggest piece of advice is learning how to separate and not take things personally, which again, easier said than done, but that's something that I think can be very helpful, especially for mental health. Like, do you have any either experiences with that or other tips and tricks for working with your significant other?
Yeah, I mean, definitely when you said that, like, because I would say for the most of our YouTube career, I was, like, editing for the videos, and it was, like, really hard. I would spend, obviously, like, hours, sometimes, like, 30 plus 40 hours on a video, and then, like, I would have this thing where, like, I wouldn't want him to see it until the end. And then, like, I'll show him that a video I'm so proud of, and the first thing he'll say is, like, something, like a critique, you know? And I'm like, are you serious? Like, I just spent all this time, you know what I mean? And it's hard to separate, like, marriage and then business partner, you know what I mean? But like it was really hard for me in the beginning taking constructive criticism. It wasn't like he was being mean. He was just saying what
like
was true.
When you're looking at something as a spouse, you want to celebrate it, and you want to be like, look at this thing that I did, babe. And it's like, oh, so great. But when you're looking at it as a creator or as a business partner, you're looking at it for what would I change? 100%.
Exactly.
Like when I work with my editor, Lena, love her. Like I am looking for what would I change? What don't I like? That's the lens. That's not always the lens you want to hear from your spouse.
Well, we had to end up changing it so that I was like, Matt, you gotta give me at least 3 compliments before you tell me one.
I like that rule. No, that's a really good idea. Like if you want to give critiques, please give me 3 compliments, 3 things that you like before you tell me what you don't like. I think that's so helpful.
Yeah. I think that ended up helping out. But then, like, eventually, every time I would show him a video, like, we would just kind of, like, laugh because we knew he was just kind of going through the things he liked just because I said it. And I don't know. I mean, it ended up working out, though. But
no, it's a process. And just because it's not easy in the beginning doesn't mean that it's not worth it in the end. So you have children.
Yes.
So I have a question for you guys. How do you feel about children on the internet and in content?
Question. Yeah.
Man, this is a very good question.
Yeah.
I think early on,
before we had kids.
Yeah, before we had kids. I think in 2018, 2019, we kind of already established, just because we're sliced rice, we're not like sliced rice and family. We kind of already...
Sliced rice and like pepperoni.
yeah, exactly. Adding more is like, what else rhymes with that? Not lice. Oh,
Sliced rice and a pair of dice.
A pair of dice. I love that.
We didn't want to rely on our kids to like take care of the family. We wanted them to be kids, have the freedom. But what we decided is just like, you know, obviously our videos aren't about them.
Right.
And we do our best not to just film videos with them, but occasionally they make cameo appearances because they're getting older, they're walking around, and they just get up in the shot, and it's like, you know what, this is real, so just keep rolling, and everything. But I think it really just depends on the family.
Oh, yeah.
And what works best for your family. For us, our biggest thing was it's nice to just separate work from our kids. So it's like once the cameras is off, we can just go back to mommy daddy mode. And I'm not looking at them and going, what video ideas can I get out of here?
No, right.
You know, it's just straight like, hey, this is fun. Let's do this fun activity. It's like a nice break from work and everything. And for us, our mental health and the family as a whole, we think that that is the best route to go. Now, if they get older and they want to have their own channels or be in it, then you know, we'll figure out some like cool, fun ways and stuff that they can do. Like, all right, well, first you gotta learn how to edit. No, I'm just kidding. All of that. You gotta earn your spot on camera.
But like, you don't worry about like if their faces show up. You don't.
No, we're not like
that.
super.
Yeah.
Like you said, like we try not to film them on purpose, but if they're in it, we also don't try to hide it. Like, you know.
Yeah, I get that. But I know that the idea of like kids on social media has been such a hot button issue, especially lately.
Yeah, recently.
Did you hear about like how that all kind of started? I don't have kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like my opinions on it all is so moot because like I don't have children.
Yeah.
I have cats, and there's
We have a cat,
like
too.
that's it. But so apparently there was an Instagrammer who like posted her kids all the time, and then realized that there were people on the internet taking those photos of her children and reposting them to another account with like role play kind of stuff, and
Interesting.
it was very creepy, and the people in the comments were even creepier. Like there were people like, oh, pretending this is my baby, like very, very weird, but then also worse, which you can only imagine.
Right.
Yeah.
And that kind of sparked this controversy of, okay, like she immediately took every photo of her children down off of everything, was like, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But then there also came a few other people who became concerned that if their faces were on the internet, people would know what they looked like, they would know their names. Could someone then try to pick them up from school? Could someone see them on the road and call their name, acting like they were a familiar person? Oh, you just don't remember me. I'm friends with your mom kind of thing. And so that became like a storm of people kind of deciding like, am I going to take them completely off? And some people still do. And I think that it's a preference. Like I don't have kids.
Yeah.
My opinion on it means literally nothing because I don't know anything about that stuff.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it could go either way.
Yeah.
Like if you don't show your kids, but people know you have kids, and then we go to the grocery store with our kids, and someone's
now they
sees
know.
them. Now they're like, oh no, and then now they're being weird around our kids that way, or it's like, oh man, I know what they are. That's cool that they're right there. So I mean, you can go either way. With this is very difficult, but I would just challenge parents like, all right, just make sure that you're doing what you can to keep your kids safe.
Yeah.
However, you feel that is like protecting your kids first. If that's your objective first before content and everything, then, there's more grace there. It's not like we are trained.
There's not a one size fits all.
Yeah. We're not trained parent professionals like know the best way. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like I even have conversations with Glory like, dang, like what if our kids get older and they're upset that we didn't put them in enough videos because they wanted to see.
They want the clout.
It's like part clout, but it's like too, like have you ever like looked at old pictures of you as a kid and you're like, oh, that's so cool, like me young. So it's like almost like documenting their life of the different stages. And we just don't have enough of that. But other kids might have more of that, or what if it's, hey, I'm in here too much. Like we really don't know until they
There's
get
not a manual for
older.
this.
Right. And it's newer. I mean, it's still like 10 years new, like social media. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. So there's not enough, like, I don't know. I feel like there's not enough evidence or proof. There's not enough, data to show you, like, how it has fully affected a kid growing up on social media. I mean, maybe,
100%.
but social media is still, like, newish in the
Absolutely.
past, 10 years.
So I have a friend who is on social media, and her son is starting high school, and he wants to be in videos just for the clout. Like he wants it so bad. He doesn't want to be a content creator. Because I've asked him, I'm like,
funny.
when I was visiting over summer, I was like, yeah, what kind of content? He's like, no, Rebecca, I don't want to do all that. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I just want the clout.
That's so
And
funny.
she's so sweet. She's thinking like, okay, you're about 14. maybe it's about time where I feel comfortable, because like that's her boundary, you know.
Wow, good for her, yeah.
Worked really hard to make sure like her kids aren't a part of
Mm-hmm.
because that's just, you know, her mom boundary, which is fine. But she's like, yeah, 14 feels like a good age. What age do you think, like if your kids were to decide they want to do social media, what age do you feel like you would be okay with for them to start their own account and do their own content?
That's such a good question. I feel like we haven't specifically thought of an
Oh,
age,
yeah.
but if
Yeah.
you
I mean,
had a thought.
you can make like, it just really just depends on like why. Like if you just want to make fun, goofy videos, you can do that, and it doesn't have to go up on any
Yeah.
platforms. You know, it could just be for the
Yeah, but this
do
day and
like
age, people would do it.
Yeah,
for-
100%.
I don't think
They
anyone's doing
post
it
it
for
in a
fun.
heartbeat.
Yeah.
they're very
1 and
young.
3.
Oh, so
Yeah. We
they're,
got
like,
plenty of
really
time.
young.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can kind of still like see
Yeah,
what
you're
everyone
still
else is
figuring
doing.
it out.
Like,
Yeah,
all right,
that
is
makes
that
so
working
much
for them?
sense.
As long as they're having fun and all of that, you know.
But I mean, I still don't want them to be like young and doing, because they don't really understand. I feel
Yeah.
like when
Right.
you're like a kid, you don't really
yeah.
understand.
I think I was
Yeah.
what you're
12 when I
doing.
started.
That's
How old
a
were you
great
when you
age, 12?
started?
I mean, I used like the camcorder and stuff when I was like 9. Like I would
Oh,
take like
wow.
home videos, but I don't know.
Have
See-
you always been doing it? Like,
See, I had very strict boundaries for myself when I started teaching, because I was teaching high schoolers. I
Yeah.
started teaching when I was 22.
Wow.
And
so
some of
young,
my
yeah.
students were seniors. Like I preferred freshmen. Like that's my happy place is teaching freshmen. But my first year teaching, I was also teaching seniors. So for me, I had very strict boundaries for myself. Like I didn't even download TikTok or anything like that, because I just wanted to kind of separate. And like, I'm an adult,
Yeah.
I promise. Because like the kids were like, come to Taco Tuesdays, and I'm like, I'm not your friend.
Right, right.
So like I was actually very like begrudgingly like, do I have to download this app? Because I was just looking for ways to bond with the kids during lockdowns, and I tried sports first. Like I tried anime next. Like social media was not my first
Yeah.
go-to. I did not want to resort to that.
Wow.
And then I finally was like, I can't figure out a way to make them smile. Like they're so depressed with these lockdowns.
Yeah.
And so I downloaded it. Well, then every kid wanted to be on my channel, you know? And I, especially because I don't have children of my own, I was very against any of them having anything. Like I would never put kids on my social media, because even just like my students were in high school, you know? Can you imagine if I put a student in a video and then some troll on the internet started making fun of what they were wearing,
Right.
or something about how they looked, or like
Yeah.
just to be mean? And like I couldn't do that, and they were so mad at me because they wanted to be on so badly.
Yeah.
They wanted the clout. They wanted to be in a video, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Not only for minor safety reasons.
Yeah.
I'm sure their parents would be pissed.
Yeah.
yeah.
But like I just couldn't imagine. I knew what kind of comments I was getting as a content creator, and like I signed up for that.
Yeah.
But that's not something that these 14-year-olds, it was mostly the freshmen that wanted to do it. It was not something that these 14-year-olds like really understood is a part of social media.
Yeah.
The mean comments, the rude people who have nothing better to do than to find some reason to tear you apart. And I just was not interested in putting
Yeah.
any of my students in that position. So I was like, I'll be the bad guy. That's fine. No, you're not going on my social media page. And I just
Good.
used the excuse of, I can't put you all on. I got 100 students.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Wow,
No.
that's how it
That's a-
started,
that's a
though.
nice
That's
one.
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Now they're gonna watch this and be like, "That's why."
That's why I could handle it, Ms. Rogers. Nope, not happening.
Wait, when did you go full time? I don't mean to switch it up on you,
no,
but I'm just
no,
curious.
yeah.
When did you make the switch?
So I have like this whole hour-long like why I quit teaching video on my channel. So pretty much, long story short,
Yeah.
because I'm not going to talk about it for an hour. What ended up happening? So our county had 4 social media teachers, like 4.
Like they were doing
in our county.
really well
Yeah, so
on
there
their-
was one at my school. Her name's Brenda. Like, we're still very good friends. Another was a gym teacher down the road at another school, and the other was an elementary school teacher even further down the road. And we all did very well. Like, very well. Like, millions.
Wow.
We're like, this is the county for TikTok teachers. And all of a sudden, like, a parent went to HR about my friend, saying that her videos were about her, and they weren't. But she insisted.
Yeah.
And our principal straight up told my friend, you're good. You can make whatever kind of videos you want here. Like, as long as it's not during school hours, I don't care. Well, then turned around and told me that the walls. Well, he then turned around and told me that I could make videos, but I couldn't monetize. And I was like, why? And they're like, you're using county resources. And I was like,
Oh,
what? No, I'm not.
yeah.
They're like, that wall in the background of your video,
Oh,
that was
no.
paid for by the county.
What?
Yeah. And I was like,
No way.
What?
You can't make that up. That's
Excuse
so
me?
crazy.
and so that's when Brenda and I ended up putting our 2 weeks in the same week. She started
Oh.
first, and she's like, do it. And she's like, quit with me, Rebecca. And I was like, okay. And I just did. And I didn't
gosh.
intend to go full-time content creation. I really didn't. I had a friend who worked in ed tech at the time, and she was like, yeah, I got a job lined up for you. And I was like, okay. So I quit. I put in my notice. And then it ended up the job was not what any of us thought it was. Like, I wasn't even qualified for it. I was
Yeah.
like, there's no way. And then and it's so funny because they told me I couldn't monetize on social media, but I wasn't even monetized. They just were like, well, there's ads on your videos. And I'm like, I don't get paid for those.
What? Oh
so
my gosh.
then I got then I signed up for monetization, and I got my first check from YouTube, and it was more than what I made as a teacher.
Oh.
And my husband was like, you don't need another job. And I was like,
wow.
okay,
So
yeah.
he supported you.
Yeah,
from the
oh,
beginning.
yeah.
Oh, that's
amazing. I
amazing,
love
yeah.
that.
Avery might have been, when I signed up for social media, everyone around me told me that it was a stupid idea, except for my
him.
husband.
Oh, I love
Like,
that.
Avery, from the moment, was like, you're going to take over the world.
Oh, I
And
love that.
It's so funny because, like, we live in the South, and, and there's a good number of men in the South who would not take well their wives becoming the breadwinners. And not take well, like, not being, like, the head of the
Yeah,
household kind
gotcha.
of thing. And Avery is like, can I be your trophy husband?
I
Aw.
love
Like,
that.
I'll take care of the house. Like, yeah, I'll stay home all day.
Wow.
And now he does.
Oh, I love
and
that.
he just, like, takes care of behind the scenes stuff, and he takes care of the house, and he, like, makes me dinner every day, and he loves it.
Oh, that's
Like,
so awesome.
he's
man.
living his best life. He now, like, teaches people how to play pickleball. He's,
Oh,
like,
nice.
truly living his best life.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow. I'm happy for
And
you guys.
thank you.
That's amazing.
And it's really interesting because again, like, even my parents at the beginning were
Yeah.
like, you're quitting your job?
Oh my gosh, no.
Why?
Same thing. I think that's why Rod actually linked us because
Yes, he knew.
yeah,
He
it was the
knew.
whole quitting, like, because when I wanted to quit, we weren't making a dime on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, and so, like, but I knew, I was like, I'm putting 8 hours into my job when I could be putting 8 hours into YouTube. That's what I want to be
Right.
doing.
Yeah.
She quit, and then I took her position.
Oh yeah.
I was like, somebody got to bring
Yeah.
something
Literally,
in.
yeah.
But then I ended up quitting
A year later.
Yeah, a year later.
Oh,
so the
word.
boss was like, "Oh, I knew this day was coming."
Yeah.
And everything. But man,
Funny.
Yeah.
There's now a running bit with my brother, because when I first started YouTube, he's like, this is so dumb, Rebecca, and he thought it was a stupid idea.
Uh-huh.
So he never followed me. And he still to this day doesn't follow
Oh
me
my gosh.
or watch any of my content. And he's like, I can't cave now. I gotta hold strong. He's like, I can't be a hypocrite. Like, it's never
Wow,
gonna
so
happen.
he's just not
And
ever
like,
gonna
my brother
follow
and I have a very good relationship.
Yeah.
Like, we're very close. It's just now a bit that he's like, I'm not following you.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Even for the longest time, he wouldn't even be in my videos because he's like, no, like I'm like the cringy older sister, you know,
Yeah.
like that's just what I will always be to him.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like just recently, he was for the first time in one of my videos. That's the only thing he's ever been in, and like instant viral. And I'm like,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
but
my god.
and he still
of
didn't watch it.
course.
He didn't watch it, even though it went viral.
No,
Oh my gosh.
Got that
no,
second
Hilarious.
account, like
I know.
no.
They can't
And even
cave.
I think he does follow me on Instagram, but that's it because he followed me before. Like he's
Okay.
like, I'm not gonna unfollow you. That's
That's-
rude. But he'll watch my stories, but not my content.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
That's it.
He refuses.
Yes. But so do you have any last minute like tips, tricks, advice, anything you want to leave our listeners about working with family, with your spouse, like those kinds of boundaries, tips and tricks to make it work? Any last words?
I mean, something that I think it has been helpful for Matt and I is that we just talked about boundaries and things like, for example, like the kids one was a really good one before we even had kids. We knew we were on the same page before like having kids that, oh, eventually we're not going to make it about our kids. And we've really stuck true to that.
Yeah.
So like, just like if you want to do this with your partner, and again, I say this is not for everyone because it's really, really difficult to work with your spouse. It just really is.
Absolutely.
You just have to like set some boundaries ahead of time and triggers and I mean just everything before you do it. And that, yeah, it's going to be challenging, but I mean, it's so worth it. I think, honestly, the best part of doing this with Matt is that when we have a milestone or a celebration, like, we really get to feel it that together. Like, it's not like I'm just explaining to him, like, hey, Matt, like, I got this award for blah, blah, blah. Like, he actually knows how it feels, and we both know how it feels together, and that's so special. Like, it's something
That's cool.
like, being able to meet people in public, like, you know, like our friends won't know what it's like to like be noticed in public, but like,
Right.
and I could explain that to Matt if I was just doing it, but like, it's different because we both like know how that feels. It's like just
love
like an
that.
inside thing. So like, the reward is so much greater than all of the like challenges, but there are always going to be those. But if you
100%.
establish like those things in the beginning, it's so much easier, you know? So
Yeah.
that's just my little tidbit.
Everything you said was amazing. The only thing I would add to that is also to set aside time away from work for just you two. So whether that, even if that's going to the movies or watching your favorite show on the platform, or getting some food, like those moments are great. And make it a point not to talk about business, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, everything else you'll figure out along the way, as long as you know that you're a team.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Someone sent me a tip to give, and then I have my own, and then we'll close. I'll stop talking because I ramble. Someone sent me that it really helps them when they work with their spouse at home, that they invented a third coworker that they blame everything they're frustrated on. So it's like they're acknowledging like, oh, this is something that's frustrating me, or this is a problem we have to work through. But instead of saying, hey, you're doing X, Y, Z, or I'm mad at you because X, Y, Z, they like have Deborah. Deborah left the microwave open in the break room, which is just their kitchen.
Yeah.
Right,
But
right.
you know, it's like, it's their fun way of acknowledging like, hey, these are these things that we need to work through and like issues that are coming up. But it's like their fun, lighthearted way to address it is blame Deborah, blame their third
Wow,
coworker.
might have to steal that.
And yeah, like I thought that was hysterical. Like I thought that was
Yeah.
so sweet. For me, I think my biggest thing that I think is the absolute most important is just like be upfront and honest about, I'm not sure how to help you. What can I do? Like when you're like, there's no manual for marriage.
Yeah,
There's no
exactly.
manual for working in general or working with your spouse. Like just be upfront about like, I see you're struggling with XYZ. I don't know how to help you. What can I do? Or like there are
Right.
days where I'm editing hardcore and I'm just glued to the computer and Avery's like, what else do you need to get done today? Like what's something that I can take off of your plate? And so I think just kind of being upfront about give me a list or tell me how I can help or what can I do for you? I think that really makes or breaks those kinds of things because it's even if I don't have anything for him, like I know he's trying to make my day easier.
Yeah.
And that like that makes such a difference.
Yeah.
That's a great
That's
question.
an amazing one.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I like
Thank
that
you.
a lot.
Thank you. Just, you know, marriage expert. I'm really not. Please don't actually, don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm doing. I still feel like I'm a child.
Oh,
But thank you guys so much.
No,
for
thank
hanging
you
out
for
with
having us. This is so
fun.
much fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. We didn't talk
great.
about weddings once.
not at
know.
all.
We
but
planned.
it's
We're like,
all
this is going to be
good.
about wedding horror stories. And no, this was
Not
Yeah.
at all.
I had so much
I
fun.
know.
Yeah,
this was great.
Yeah.
This is really good. We're going to go hang out.
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
And thank you all so much for hanging out with us. I hope you guys had fun and hope to see y'all next week. Bye, my lovelies.